Morning, everybody. Shorter video this week. I did kind of mess up because I'm in that weird part of the week where, one, I put out the Friedman video, which was a lot of good content that could have been used on Sunday, but I made the decision to put it out as a separate video. But because of the work I know I've got to do next week, I can't really start something new or get really in-depth into something right now. Now is Friday afternoon. I'm only here for another hour, and then I'm off racing for the weekend, right? So I can't do much. I'm just doing little jobs, which is a bit frustrating, because it means I haven't got much to show you. But, you know, some of you will appreciate a shorter video of me just waffling on. Some of you will moan like crazy that you didn't get all your fully in-depth, mega detail stuff. Is what it is. Take it or leave it. You know, can't please everyone. Won't please everyone. Anyway. I want to have a quick couple of comments on the Friedman Part 2 video, fixing that runt. It seems the symptoms that we were having, mid control not working, treble control acting almost like a gain control, is a commonish fault with those amplifiers. And a lot of you commented saying it's whisker growth on the alpha pots and it's a common problem on this amp. And if I just asked Dave Friedman, he would have helped me and told me that and it would be fixed. Well, if the pots were faulty, then yeah, absolutely. But for those who watched the video to the end will realise that nothing wrong with the pots whatsoever. It is entirely possible to have the same symptom caused by two very different things, which is the case there. Now, by forcing myself to diagnose it myself and keep going with it and not give up and work it out and understand it, we got to the root of the problem, which was not whisker growth on alpha pots, which, incidentally, I've never come across, ever. Hadn't even considered that to be a thing. Never seen it before. I've used alpha pots for many years. Never had that problem. But it seems to be a very common thing on Friedman amps. I don't know why, but I can't find many examples of alpha pots developing that particular fault on anyone else's amps. So I don't know what that's about. I'm sure Dave Friedman will have a reasonable explanation for that. Great, but I was actually quite surprised because it's wasn't even in my thought bank that could be a thing, because I've never seen an alpha pot fail like that. So anyway, moving on. It turned out it was the slope resistor that was the fault. I'm glad I actually found the problem, understood it, diagnosed it, fixed it, proved the repair. Customer's taken it away and is happy with it and has yet to report anything wrong with it whatsoever. So that's good news, right? But yeah, point I'm trying to make, and I hope I haven't waffled on too much here, is that simply asking for the answer isn't always the best thing for you as a diagnostician. Simply be giving the answer and then not having the understanding why or what or which, right, doesn't help you develop as a diagnostician or as a repair person. Discovering it yourself, working it out yourself, doing it that way gives you a deeper understanding and moves you further on down your own developmental path than by someone simply giving you the answer. And I think that's important sometimes, to be stubborn and say, no, don't give me the easy way out. I'm going to fight this. I'm going to work it out myself. And I was right to do so, because in all realness, and this wouldn't have been Dave Friedman's fault, absolutely not. If I contacted him, he would have provided me with a schematic, great, and he would have said, we have a common problem with these, whisker growth on the pots, try that. And I would have done that, but I wouldn't have ended up any further on with the repair of the amplifier than I would have been. But also, that then plants a seed in your head almost like a blind spot where you think you're further away from where you started than you actually are. So by not doing that and just by forging on myself, I worked it out, I figured it out, I discovered the problem and I fixed it, and it turned to be something completely different to the common problems. So there you go. Does that make sense? Have I explained that well? I don't think I have, but maybe I have. Who knows? Anyway, very cool amplifier. It sounded great. I mean, it was built well, in my opinion. It felt like a premium product. It sounded great. It had very low levels of hum and hiss. You know, so there wasn't anything excessive in there at all. And it was a very toneful amplifier. And it was, you know, would I gig that myself? Well, if I was offered one, yeah, absolutely. Of course I would. Would I buy one? No, but I build my own amp, so I rarely buy other people's amps anyway. So that's kind of a moot question, right? But there you go. Yeah, I like that amp. I thought it was great. Interesting that it put out 60 watts, not 50. Right, very interesting. There will be a reason for that. I wonder if... See, I didn't do a proper output stage analysis on it. So, you know, I don't know what the output transformer primary impedance is, so I don't really know what load is being put on those output valves. I didn't measure the phase inverter voltage swing, so I don't know how hard the output valves were being driven on the grid side, sorry. I mean, it's rated at 50, but really it was putting out a healthy 60 watts clean. Wow, okay. And it wasn't biased too hot either, was it? It was, you know, it was all right. Yeah, interesting. Very interesting. Becoming more of a fan every day. Right, I must crack on. I need to make some progress on this PR18 build. Need to have a quick tidy up, quick sort out. I need to get this video edited and exported so I can take it home and upload it. Internet's not fast enough here to upload at home, upload at work. So I take it home and do it off the laptop. Anyway, that's it. I realised I haven't done a shelf update for you guys in a while. I'll show you what's currently on the shelves in terms of amplifier builds that are ongoing, repairs, services, all that kind of stuff. You guys seem to like it when I do that. So let's go through the shelf. I'll show you where we are with everything. So you kind of get an update of what I'm currently working on, what's coming up shortly, what's coming up in the medium term, all that kind of stuff. This is quite an old PR18, which has come back in for a complete rebuild, basically. I mean, I offer a service where I'll bring any of my amplifiers up to the latest spec. This one being a very, very early one, needed quite a bit of stuff doing to it. So often it's quicker for me just to gut the chassis and rebuild the thing. So that's what I'm doing. So it's got one of our latest power transformers in, new output transformer as well, because compared to when I originally built these, I have changed the primary impedance slightly. So to make sure that it matches the power transformer, it's getting a new output transformer as well. Half power switch, of course. So I'm just in the process of wiring this thing up. Still need to do the pots along the front, so I need to put all my components on, my interconnects, my bus bar. Bias board is in. I have made and populated the board, so that's all there. I need to do all my underboards, overboards, and my flying leads. We can get this thing in. So yeah, coming along quite nicely. I'm hoping to have this thing fired up within the next couple of weeks, but it's in that unfortunate position where I've also got a lot of new builds that I have to get out the door for deadlines. So this is one of those jobs, along with quite a few others, that you jump onto them when you can, but all it takes is one tricky diagnosis on a repair or something along those lines, and everything just kind of gets pushed back slightly. So, but I managed to find some good time on this. Still got a lot of wiring and things to do, but it is coming on quite nicely, as I'm sure you can agree, and yeah, quite pleased with that. So cracking on, making progress. Right, we'll start on the top left and we'll work our way down. This is Ollie's PR18 that has come in for just general service and a check over. He's picking that up next week on his way through to a gig. Now, he's also, remember the Vibrolux that we had in recently? The problem on it has returned, so we're going to need to get back onto that. He's going to drop it back in. We'll have a look, see what's going on. We thought we'd fixed it, do you remember, with that missing ground in the B+ rail, but he said it did play up again, so we are going to have to look at his Vibrolux, the lovely drip edge silver panel amplifier. This is the PR6 brown build for Coda, pretty much all done. Just waiting on the cabinet for that and for me to do the final bits of wiring, but it's now at a point where until the cabinet is here, there's no point in me doing any more work on it. That cabinet is, I've been told, a couple of weeks out at most, so fingers crossed that turns up even quicker. This is that 5E3 clone that came in, you know, the home kit build that we need to get on, doing a rebuild and bits and pieces on. That's really just in the queue, waiting for me to essentially pull my finger out and get onto it in its turn. But before that gets done, there is the Lazy J, the next Lazy J rebuild to do. So that's that's ahead of that 5E3 in the queue. So that's not going to get done, sorry Ian, until I've at least done the next J20 rebuild. This is the next Ainsley SIG that is 120 volts, so it's going off to the States. Now, I need to get at least this one done before Ainsley heads back out on tour for another 2 weeks in Europe. So next week is pretty much me full-time on this build, just so he can visit. I think he's going to try and get to me next Friday, so I can get this one at least play tested and signed off. But the new reverb transformers are not arriving till Monday, Tuesday, so I'm kind of, I can't do what I need to do until those reverb transformers arrive. But that shouldn't stop me making progress in other areas of the build. So I will be getting on with that, and I'm sure you'll see an update on that in the midweek video. Coming down here. Oh, someone actually asked me about this ruler I've got here. This is just a simple metric to imperial conversion. So I've got metric on the bottom, millimeters and centimeters, running all the way up to 29.5 centimeters, right there. And all it does is I've just put on there in your standard increments of imperial sizes, mainly for sockets and things. So if there's a fastener or a hole size or something that I'm not sure about, let's say I measure a hole and it comes out 14.4 millimeters, well, I know that's 9/16 of an inch. And it allows me to go back and forth, you see. So, you know, if 11 mil doesn't quite fit, well, the next size up wouldn't be 12, it would be 7/16. It just allows me to do a quick conversion on there. It's very handy to have something like that around. You know, like 5/8 is pretty much 16 millimeters, that sort of thing. So it's some problem with guitar amps. This industry doesn't have a standardization. A lot of the stuff is metric, a lot of the stuff is imperial. And as you guys know, I often work in both, depending on what you might call a British amp or an American amp or whatever. Sometimes my amps, you know, contain both measurements. You know, the chassis might be metric, but I work and drill and enlarge holes in imperial. So it's often useful just to have this to hand, and allows me to work in both. Anyway, this is the 100-watt basement build. No progress on this yet. I was hoping to get on with it, but I've just been too busy. The Friedman diagnosis took up far too much time, so I haven't had a chance to get on with this. But you can see the board is done. All of my sockets are in, transformers are in, pots are in along the front. I just need to make some progress on it, but it's not priority. So when I do get some time on it, I'll let you know. This is the PR35, black panel PR35, but we're doing it in a JTM 45 sized chassis for, it's a custom build for a customer. Transformers are in, sockets are in, board is made. I just need to crack on with the wiring on it. Now, we've got a new cabinet design coming, and so Zilla are currently working on that for me. I do need to give Paul a call, actually. So, but he's doing a new 1x12 cabinet design for me, which this will be mounted into. So I do need I'm kind of waiting on that. I can't do any... Again, this is one of those builds that there's no point in me making much progress on it until other parts of the puzzle are in place. So that's just kind of sat there. I do need to update the customer on that, so that's a good reminder. That's the train wreck project. The amp is all wired up. I have fired it up on the bench. I'm not going to give you guys an update on it just yet, but it's not all smooth sailing at the moment with it. But you'll have to wait for the next instalment of Train Wrecking for the full update on that. This, of course, is the £200 silver panel, ultra linear, master volume, super reverb that is mine, my project. Still haven't done anything with that yet, and I probably won't for a while. I know you guys really want me to get on with it, but there's way many more things in the queue. So that's sitting there, no harm done. I will get onto that at some point. That's the Selma treble and bass. It's pretty much done now. The reason it's not back in its cabinet, I haven't done the very final jobs on it, is that the customer has also got a PR6 on order with me. Until that's done, that can sit there quite happily out of harm's way, so no problem with that. Down here on this chassis stand is the twin reverb, the one that I'm going to do a new board for. I have drawn the new board design out. I just need to make it, pull the old one out, swap over all the good components from that board onto the new one, and get this thing reinstalled, fired up, and that should be the completion of that project. But you will, of course, get an update from me in due course on that one. Got a prototype there that I can't tell you about, and 2 custom builds again that I can't tell you about just for the time being. That's the old scrap graveyard. Up the top here, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 chassis ready for the next Ainsley signature build. So they've arrived, they've been welded up. They just need drilling, marking, populating. So they're kind of all ready to go. So I've got that sorted. Got a 1 watt chassis here. I'm going to be doing. Do you remember the 1-800 heads, the JCM 800 1 watters that I did, those limited runs? Well, I'm building one for myself at some point, just for fun. That's the chassis for that. That's a. Oh God, I don't think I ever told you about this one. That's a Dumble side chassis, which I originally was going to call and build an amp in it, a new design called the Elysium, but I used the Elysium name for the pedal. So that's just a chassis sat there waiting for me to do something with. Got a blank Americana chassis here. That's for an Americana build. So I need to crack on with that. These chassis have the rattly rivets, so they all need drilling out and replacing. And I've got a big blank chassis because somebody has ordered a 100 watt Tweed Twin with reverb. So like a big 100 watt Americana. So that's going to be done at some point, but he hasn't actually paid me for any deposit on it yet. So that can sit there until he does. That's that Dexter build for stock. What we've got down here, I've got another Americana chassis that again I need to drill, populate and whatnot. No problem. 2 Blondie chassis, 6G6C builds. One, I think I showed those on the channel before. Got the 1 watt builds. The JM1 watters there. Got some more blank chassis for projects and stuff, and my 2 templates. So yeah, lots going on, plus the stuff out the front. This arrived a couple of weeks ago. It's in the queue. This is a I can't open it up just in case there's personal information on there, but I think it's a 68 custom deluxe reverb that's in for all the mods and stuff. So that's what's in that box, but I can't, again, there's personal information on it, so I can't open it up. That's the twin reverb cab. That's Ollie's cab for his PR18. That's the Selma treble and bass down here. That's the cab for that. That's that Lazy J, the one that's in the queue for rebuild. That's the ProSonic. So we're getting close to that one in the queue now, so I will be able to crack on with that and get that one done. That's the little Tweed Bronco that's been fixed and is now up and running, waiting collection. That's the Valve State 8080 that's now done, again waiting for collection. You always get your old parts back, so they're there in a little bag on top. And yeah, that's currently what I've got out the front. Racing trophies, you've all seen them. Well, that's it then, guys. Thank you very much for watching once again. As always, please give this shorter video a thumbs up, comments and questions down below. Subscribe and hit the notification bell if you haven't already. If you're feeling super generous, why not buy a t-shirt or join the channel? And I will catch you all at the next one. This is the replacement engine for the BMW race car. I'm doing something slightly different with the car. I am moving it back down to the same class that I race the Mazda in. So 145 horsepower per tonne. Now, usually a BMW compact, an E36 compact, will have the 1.9 four-cylinder engine. But in order to make that powerful enough to be at the class limit, you've actually got to modify it. Whereas what I've decided to do is keep the car as a six-cylinder, and I've bought the 2-litre six-cylinder from a BMW Z3. They drop straight in, slightly different ECU, but the wiring loom's the same. And it produces, within 1 or 2 horsepower, exactly what I need straight out the box. So by the time we've got an air intake on it and the exhaust, we should be good to go. Double Vanos, so absolute load of torque. Makes more torque than the 1.9, but produces the same peak power as the modified 1.9. So it's just turned up. So that's going to drop in the car over the winter, and then we'll have this ready for racing next year. So more cars in my class. So I plan to hire the car out, but also I'll be able to race it as well if I want to. So I've got my guy coming to pick this up later on. So it's only going to sit on my loading dock for a couple of hours. And then I'm going to drop the car off with him in about a week's time. And he's going to do the swap for me, get it all running. We're having some other things done to the car as well. So rather than me do it, over the winter, outside in the cold and the rain and all that kind of stuff, because I've still got the Mazda to do the winter prep on. He's going to do that for me. The guy who broke the other engine is paying for the cost of this engine and the install. I'm paying for the extra work done to make this new engine run. And yeah, that'll be good to go. So yeah, new engine, 2-litre straight 6. Now, I'm actually quite excited by it, because there's a great saying in motorsport that if you do the same as everyone else, you'll get the same result as everyone else. So you may as well try do something different. And nobody's run the 2-litre 6-cylinder engine in our class in a E36 compact before. So hopefully it gives us a performance advantage over the other guys.